All right, I want to first start off by saying we're not financial advisors, and
Oh
nothing we
God,
say
no.
is professional, and you should take everything with a grain of salt.
What I've
Also, like and subscribe if
like,
you like this video.
yeah. How hard is it? You just click like, man. Just like and subscribe. What
Push
I've
that
learned
button.
over the past 4 days since last Thursday, I've learned that I know almost nothing about the stock market. Like I'm reading things and then repeating what I've read, but it turns out that I know a lot more about the stock market than everybody I've talked to. So like most of America doesn't really understand how the stock market works. Because so far, and I always you've been around me when I'm talking about something I don't know about, I'm quick to say like correct me if I'm wrong or I might not be right, but I couch a lot of what I'm going to say because I'm not an expert in this. And I've said that this whole weekend and nobody's correcting me on anything and people are just asking questions. So I don't think any of us really know how the stock market works. So that could be a good or a bad thing. I'm not really sure.
The bad thing.
Yeah.
I
Real
mean, I
quick.
just I just feel bad for the people. Hold on. I feel bad for the people who are about to retire, and they're
Those are the
like,
people
oh,
that this is screwing the most for sure.
yeah. And also, like, I think Trump might just give up on these tariffs. I
I
think
don't think he's going to yet. He
not
has.
not not I think it's going to crash even more, but I feel like he's going to. Like there's 50 countries, apparently there's 50 countries reaching out to Trump trying to negotiate with him.
Mhm.
And I think this is what he wanted the whole time, but he just wouldn't couldn't tell us or something.
Well, at the same time, he's saying two things at the same time. He's saying, nope, the tariffs are here to stay. There's nothing they can do. Like, we are going to tariff these countries. But then he's also saying, but I'm open for business. If anybody wants to call and discuss a deal, let's discuss a deal. So he's kind of speaking out of both sides of his mouth. Real quick,
Yeah.
real quick, to illustrate how little I know about the stock market. Have you ever seen the movie The Big Short? It's about the 2008 financial collapse, the housing market collapse, and all that.
Yes, I have.
I don't know what it means to short a stock. Like, ooh, they shorted the stock. Like, I hear that all the time. And that movie, from what I heard, was like the stock market for dummies. Like, it would explain it to me. And I've
Mm.
watched that movie 3 or 4 times, and I still don't know what it means to short a stock. There was a new movie recently about the GameStop deal that happened on the.
Uh-huh.
It was a good movie. I watched it. I still don't know what it means to short a stock at all. So I,
So so basically, if you're shorting a stock, and I tried to look into it a little bit too, and
you're
it is confusing. I don't know if you have to own the stock, but you're basically betting that the stock is going to tank.
You're betting on it to fail. And I get that, but I don't get how that really, I don't get how that, who are you betting against? Like, don't even try to explain it to me because I've tried to look into it and I don't get it. But all that being said, me and you are not stock market experts. I don't know if you've been watching TV. Tonight is Sunday night. It's 10 o'clock Central. What is it? It's 9 o'clock where you're at in the mountains.
Nine
Um,
Mountain.
Things look very terrible for tomorrow morning. I was probably going to push this podcast till tomorrow until I started to see what's going on. Real quick, there there are a lot of people, and again, we're not experts. There are a lot of people that are saying tomorrow is going to be like Black Monday, not Black Monday of 1929, but Black Monday of 1987. Apparently, in 1987, it lost 22.06% of its value on a single Monday. We already lost. It was a total of 3,900 points. I think like 8 or 9% between Thursday and Friday last week. Anyhow, we can't lose. I guess we can, but it would suck to lose any more. But they're acting like tomorrow's going to be the big loss. Like they're going to make last Thursday and Friday look like nothing. Right now, certain stock markets are open. I'm trying to find it. I had it written down here. Okay, here we go. Australia's stock market is open right now and it's down 6%, which is pretty big for them. The Japanese, and I can't even say the Nikkei 225, whatever it's their Dow Jones, is down 8.3%. Germany's about to open. Their futures are down 5%. And Taiwan's stock market just tripped what they call a circuit breaker. We have these circuit breakers now, and apparently people are saying we're going to trip them pretty quick tomorrow.
We tripped one in 2020.
Yeah, so and it's basically if there's a massive sell-off happening, it freezes everything, it closes, it shuts down the stock market, and it's supposed to give everybody a chance to breathe and calm down and stop the continued sell-off. They're saying that tomorrow we're definitely going to hit the circuit breaker, and if they restart trading tomorrow, it'll hit it a second time, which means they probably won't even restart it tomorrow. They'll shut it down for the day and give everybody till Tuesday to calm down. Um, I watched the Sunday morning shows today, and Trump had everybody out there that he could on all the Sunday morning shows, and they were all basically the basic message was it would be stupid to sell your stocks right now. Like the stock market's about to start going up. Like a couple people guaranteed it would hit 50,000. The Jones would hit 50,000 before the end of Trump's term. So they're all saying you'd be a fool to get out. All the economists are saying get out. It's about to get ugly. Get out. So we'll see what's going to happen.
You
Real
can't
quick,
trade on the weekend.
we talked
So you
on
got to get in. You got to get in there Monday tomorrow. So everybody's tomorrow morning. Everybody's gonna jump on it and start just selling stocks,
just dumping.
and that's what's gonna cause the tank, right?
It looks likely. Real quick, the last time we spoke was Thursday, and what I can't even remember. It seems like so long ago, but Thursday the stock market lost like 5%. It was like 16 or 1700 points. I should have looked this up, but somewhere in that range. And it was bad. Like we did an emergency podcast that night to talk about how bad it was. Then, all right, go ahead.
So did you? We know that we had a Great Depression in 1930, right?
Yeah.
With Herbert Hoover caused it through tariffs.
Yes.
But did you know
Actually,
that?
real quick, the depression didn't start because of tariffs, but then once we started to slide into a depression, they put on what's called the Smoot-Hawley tariffs that was supposed to save us from the depression, and instead it pushed us further into depression. So,
Okay. Um, did you know in 1828 Andrew Jackson created another? It was another depression that we
okay.
had, and it was due to tariffs, the tariff of abomination or the tariff of 1828. Um,
From what I know, we've tried to become like a tariff economy a couple different times, and it hasn't worked out too well. The one period of time that Trump keeps referring to was the McKinley era, like 1890s, and he says
uh-huh.
everything was great. And if you look at like our total GDP was great, but like we had a real income equality imbalance back then. Like there were the robber barons who owned everything, and then everybody else was dirt poor, and like it was not good to be 99% of America at that point. So. That's the one time people point out as a success, and it really wasn't. But go ahead, sorry.
Hmm. I'm good.
Um, so Thursday was awful, and Thursday everybody said, "Oh man, that was bad," but like at least it's over now. And like we talked that night, and we were like, "Look how bad it was." Nobody expected what happened Friday morning. I don't even think, and I didn't go back and watch it, but I think Thursday night we weren't talking about this continuing Friday. We kind of thought it had kind of eased up. So Friday morning, real quick, Trump during his little press conference on Wednesday when he held up those big cardboard things showing the tariffs, he said that China was tariffing us 67%. The actual rate that China tariffs us is 7.5%. Okay. But he
Hmm.
used the trade imbalance to do his formula. But
Right.
so he charged them 34% because he's a nice guy and he could have done it all, but he only did half, is what he said. So China, they're smart people over there. An hour before the market opened Friday morning, they publicly retaliated with their own 34% tariff. So they matched our tariffs and it sent our market into a spin. Friday ended up being worse than Thursday. Friday, it lost like 2,300 points. Bad. And then after that, again, the Trump people came out and said, whew, that was bad, but it's over now. We've hit the bottom. Nowhere to go but up from here. And it looks now like tomorrow's going to be just god awful. I hope I'm wrong, but it looks like it's gonna be bad.
I think
Friday
it's gonna.
afternoon,
I
dude.
mean, I saw that low, like it dropped on Thursday, and I was like, that's not it. I knew Friday was gonna be worse, and then it's gonna go on until he lifts the tariffs. Like
I think it'll hit a point
that's the
where
thing.
it will bottom out somewhere where like the certain people at a certain point, if you're still in there, you can't get out anymore. You've already lost so much. All you can do is leave it in there and hope that it bounces back. Like at a certain point. Did you see that Friday Fox News has been around for 28 years, and for 28 straight years they have always had the stock ticker in the bottom right hand corner of their screen where it shows like the Fox logo and it shows what's going on in the stock markets. They have
Hmm.
never missed a second. If they are on the air, the stock ticker has been on there for 28 straight years. And Friday they pulled the ticker off and just stopped showing what was going on in the
Oh,
stock market. Yeah,
oh.
and it went on for about an hour and a half, and they started getting called out on it ridiculously on like social media and all that, and then they ended up putting it back in the afternoon. But they tried to just slide it off because they know that people at home are going to see that and go, oh shit, like get my financial guy on the phone right now, like we got to get out of this. So they were trying to help
Mhm.
Trump by not helping the panic go on.
Yeah, yeah.
So Trump has been not helping all weekend, and like that guy, oh
He's making money, dude. He's got golf
yeah,
deals to make.
Well, he's got, I can't think of the guy's name to save my life right now, but he's got that one guy that every time he goes out there, he ends up screwing up what he says and makes things worse. Well, Trump did that pretty much all weekend long. I think on his way down to Florida, he was talking to reporters on the plane. He said, "My tariffs are not going away. My economic policy is not going to change. I'm ready to make deals, but there will still be tariffs." So, what everybody in the stock market was looking for there was him to say, "Hey, this is almost over," or "Hey, it's not going to be that bad." And he kind of doubled down and said, "No, we're doing the tariffs." On the way back, he actually said, "Sometimes you got to take your medicine. Sometimes you're sick, you got to take your medicine to fix things. So this is our medicine. It's going to hurt, but like we'll get through it." And then I sent a video to you. This is from CNN. I want you to watch this real quick and tell me what word comes to mind when you watch this.
Take their cars, Mercedes, Volkswagen, BMW. We take their millions of cars. They take no cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. Europe's treated us very badly. We put a big tariff on Europe. They are coming to the table. They want to talk, but there's no talk unless they pay us a lot of money on a yearly basis. Number one for present, but also for past, because they've taken a lot of our wealth away, and we're not going to allow it to happen.
Sir, have you
Okay, so what word did you catch there? What word came to your mind?
Reparations.
So, a couple different things there. One, he talked about they won't take our cars. The reason we don't have big Chevy and Ford trucks in a lot of these European cities is our cars legit won't fit in their little cities. Like, I know that sounds very basic, but like they got tiny little cars over there. They don't have parking spots for our big vehicles. They don't do gas guzzlers over there. Like the
Yeah.
American auto industry is not the same as the Europe auto industry. They won't take our meat, I think he said, or our farm products, whatever he said.
We talked about this last time because our
Yeah,
meat sucks. We put too many chemicals in it. Yeah.
the
Our
hormones
cows are
and
sickly. It's bad.
exactly. And then at the end there, he said that they're going to have to pay us a lot of money on a yearly basis, and not just for the present, for the past, for the present, for the past too, which that's reparations right there. Like, I love it because whenever you hear the word reparations, it's the Democrats and the Republicans are making fun of the Democrats for talking about reparations. But Trump
Yeah.
now wants reparations from Europe for how bad they've been screwing us. So you can come to the table and we can negotiate a new trade deal, but also you have to pay a yearly reparation to us for the past of how bad you've been screwing us. That's where we're at right now in negotiating this with Europe. So let's just say
Hmm.
we're not close to a deal. Would you agree?
No, I think it's
No.
going to tank. Dude, I mean, what was the percentage that our stock market went down during COVID?
In
That first,
2020,
like that first week of COVID.
I know that Thursday, Friday was almost as bad as I think summer 2020 was when it crashed there.
What did they call that?
I don't think there's not like a fun term for that crash, the COVID
It really
crash.
isn't.
Just say how much did the stock market crash in summer 2020? Hold on, I want to try something real quick. We might get this out. I got Google Gemini on my phone, and it is the most helpful thing I've ever had. I haven't played with any of these AI things up until now.
Oh, it was 12.9%.
How much did the stock market crash in the summer of 2020?
The stock market actually crashed in the spring of 2020, not the summer. It was a really sharp drop because of the pandemic, and the Dow Jones lost about 37% of its value in just over a month.
Oh, wow.
By the way, Google Gemini for the win. She's on it. Okay, so 37%. So we're at I think like 12 or 13% right now in 2 days.
Mhm.
So we've got a while to go. Either
Yeah.
way, that this is a self-inflicted wound. Like this didn't need to happen. There's no need for this. And I still maintain that if he would have gone country to country and said, "Hey, we need to renegotiate, or else I'm going to put tariffs on you," they were more than willing to renegotiate. Like this, what he's doing right now, and also,
Power move. It's a power move. And
yeah,
he's actually like most of the negotiations happened under his watch, like the Canada-Mexico agreement. Like,
I don't want to say most of them, but like
well,
he's trying to get back to where, like, for Japan, for example, like he wants to get back to where there's no tariffs on Japan going either way. We had that under the TPP, which was a trade deal that Obama put together, and Trump came in and killed it just because Obama had put it together. And it's like, okay, you're trying to get back to 0% tariffs with them. Like we had that. That's what TPP was. And like, not only was it a good trade deal for us in Japan, but it also kind of punished China, which was good for us. So that was a good trade deal. He got rid of that. Anyhow, that's where we're at. So I told you about the foreign stock markets. They're all down right now. Germany announced yesterday that it's considering withdrawing the 1,200 tons of gold that it stores at the U.S. Federal Reserve in New York. It's going to go, it doesn't trust America. If we tank, what's going to happen to their gold? And then I looked into that. Apparently, the U.S. Federal Reserve, a lot of countries keep like their gold that backs their economy is here in America. I can't believe
Hold on, hold on. How do you transport 1,200 tons of gold?
a
I'm thinking
ship.
about the security of that.
Yeah, pirates. I'm thinking about the fact that if we so I looked at apparently we do house a lot of nations' gold here in America. I can't believe Trump hasn't threatened to take that yet. It's honestly he might not know. He might not know that it's here because he has not once threatened to just take their gold, and that seems right up his alley right now, doesn't it?
You guys owe us. We're taking
Yeah.
all your
We're just
gold.
gonna keep your gold. You want your gold back? Oh, well, you should come negotiate. Like something like that.
Oh man. Yeah, this is just a power play for him to get other countries to come to him to negotiate a better deal. I mean, when he did the North American trade agreement, he didn't really get us a much better deal. He
It
just kind
was
of it was basically the same thing, right?
it was NAFTA with a couple of light tweaks. Like there was nothing big that changed between it. So
He could have just been like, "Hey, these are the amendments we want." Boom.
well, and even like right now with all the stuff he's been doing with Canada, like Justin Trudeau was like pleading through the airwaves, like on TV, and he was saying like, "What do you like?" I've asked him what he wants. He says he doesn't want anything, but like whatever he wants, like I'm willing to talk about. What does he want? And like Trump just wouldn't give him an answer. So he really wanted to go through with the trade war. Like he wants this to happen. So we're getting it. So let's. I have a feeling me and you are gonna have to pod tomorrow, just to update on what happens with the stock
Yeah.
market. I don't know where the circuit breakers kick in, but how many points do you think it loses between now and I guess end of trading tomorrow, whether that be the end of the day or when the circuit breakers kick in and kill it? How bad do you think tomorrow is going to be?
So that was the second largest dip was 37%, right?
Yes.
So, and we're at 12% now. I'm gonna go, it goes,
No, sorry. 1987 was 22% was what that was. That was the second worst, I believe.
okay.
So
Um,
the 37% you're thinking of was during COVID, and that was over a month. So we're talking single day, though. Single day. What's it going to crash
oh,
tomorrow?
single day. Yeah. We did 15 on Thursday or
That was
15
it.
on Friday.
It ended up being 16 or 17, I think.
Okay, so we've already gotten to 30%, haven't we?
I don't know percentage wise. No, no, no. Sorry, it was 16 or 1700 points. I don't know percentage wise what we lost last week.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's right.
I think it was like
It's only
five.
been it's
It
actually only been like 10%.
it was like
Um,
5% the first day and like 7% the second day, something like that.
okay. I'm gonna go with 12% tomorrow.
Okay. I wish I should have looked to see when the circuit breakers kick in, but I think those are definitely going to kick in tomorrow. And then I think if they do, Trump has to come out and make it look like we're making progress. Like, oh, I've set up all these meetings. And also the tariffs haven't gone into effect yet. They're supposed to go into effect on the 9th. So he could easily come out if the market gets that bad. All he has to do is come out and say, "Hey, I've had many positive calls with all these countries. So what I'm going to do, and this is his move, I'm going to delay the implementation of the tariffs by 1 month to give these countries time to negotiate." I think that happens on Monday night or Tuesday. I see that happening. And then the stock market will bounce back because of that, as they'll say, "Oh, look, Trump's making deals. That's what he does. He makes deals." And then we'll have a little bit of a rebound. So
I think that's what's gonna happen. I think you're right.
I think that's exactly where we're headed right now.
I think he's really enjoying the drama of it. He's like
He's
creating
loving
this
this.
drama.
Like
He is.
people are squirming and he's the only one that has the power to either save them or like put his boot on their throat and push and he likes that.
See, I think that's what's gonna happen, but there is a slight chance that he just really wants tariffs
The thing is
on everybody.
he can't do his tax cuts for the billionaires unless we're bringing in money through the tariffs. So he'll make a deal that makes the tariffs more palatable for everybody, but no matter what, we're going to have tariffs. Like there's no situation where at the end of this we just don't have because he can't do the tax cuts without the tariffs. That's key.
Aren't Republicans like for free trade?
Yeah. So
Like
what's
completely
the
100%?
craziest? You know how during the past couple of years there keeps being times where like Trump does something and it forces like the Democrats to argue like, no, we should be involved in a war on a foreign. We're like, traditionally they would be the ones against being involved in
Yeah.
a foreign war. Like he keeps
Yeah.
getting them, and in this case is funny because Republicans are anti-tariff and Democrats are generally good with tariffs, but they're more for targeted tariffs, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but here we are right now watching all the Democrats go, no, like we have to have free trade. There can't be tariffs, and it's like this is so gonzo. Like this is backward. It shouldn't be this way, but it's
Well,
where
some
we
of the
are.
Republicans are starting to speak out. I heard Rogan speak out against Trump a little bit
Well,
on
and
it was more on the immigration stuff.
he and
Um,
we're about to go El Salvador here in a minute, but real
and
quick,
then Ben Shapiro, he's talking.
Ben Shapiro is pissed about this, and he's mainly pissed because before Trump did the tariffs, Israel went ahead and just eliminated all their tariffs on the U.S. They went to zero tariffs in advance to try to get like some cool points,
Oh.
and then Trump still tariffed them, and Shapiro is pissed about that. Anyhow,
Shapiro doesn't live in Israel, does he?
he's
Like,
Jewish, and he's very upset. He specifically talked about that for a while. So
huh? Okay, interesting.
um, and then also while we're talking about Europe, real quick,
Oh, hold
they
on. While we're on
okay
celebrities, real quick, Russell
okay
Brand is a rapist.
he's accused again. He was accused like 2 years ago too.
No, he's convicted.
Oh, is he convicted now? Is that what happened?
Convicted.
Okay, well he'll still be on YouTube making videos. I don't think this is
Yeah.
going to change
Well,
anything.
he went on saying he went on his own thing saying how like corrupt the UK justice system is, and he's on this like big rant. But apparently, there's like text messages of him being like apologizing to at least one of the girls. Just
Well,
like
if
a
he
text thread where
apologized,
he's like, "I'm so
then it's good.
sorry."
Yeah, he should get off scot free if he apologized. Um, real quick, you were talking about Republicans turning on Trump. The social media people, I don't think any of them have turned on him, but they are starting to question what he's doing. They haven't turned on him. What's important is we definitely have 7 senators that are Republicans that would vote to kill these tariffs. Like we definitely have that. So we've got the 60 votes needed in the Senate. The problem is. I don't know that there's a single Republican that right now in the House that would cross sides and go against Trump on this. So like Congress could shut this down right now. Like the Senate and the House could vote to veto these tariffs and it'd be over. Um, Again, I don't think we've made any progress in the House. There's probably 10 or 11 senators that are Republican that are willing to vote against Trump on this. They don't mind at all. They'll go up against him on this. The House not happening. So anyhow, um, the EU announced on, I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday, that they are going to raise defense spending, which is what Trump's been wanting them to spend more on their defense. But they said in correlation with this, they're going to ramp up like factories that make the weapons in Europe. So they want to spend their money at home. Like everybody always does. I think people don't realize this. Like all the money we're sending to Ukraine, like we're really spending that money here on like the U.S. war machine, the military and
Mm,
industrial complex, and then the bombs are going overseas, but the money's staying in our economy, and we like it that way. So
yeah.
Trump wants Europe to spend more on their defense, but it turns out we learned this week that no, he wants them to do that, but to make sure they're buying the weapons from us, so that's more money flowing into our economy. And they came out and said, okay, we've decided we got to do it. But we need to be able to make the weapons here at home because we can't count on America to be on our side or to be helpful. So, like, we're going to do it at home. And Trump is pissed about that. Like,
Ah,
he never said he wants them to spend it in America. It kind of was assumed that if they were increasing spending, it would be buying American-made stuff. And they're saying, no, we're going to do it. We're going to. Then I think that's
yeah.
smart. Every country should have the means to produce its own materials needed for war. Like that seems
Yeah.
common sense.
Yeah. And now that the
Um,
United States has gone rogue, like everybody needs to start arming up again.
Yep. And after Trump kind of threw a fit about it, some reporters kind of read Trump's statement. Can't remember the guy's name, but he's in charge of NATO, and he said flat out that Europe believes that America is not a reliable partner anymore. So we have to. I can't remember the rest of the quote. We have to take actions. And when you look at it during the last UN vote, America voted with Russia, Belarus, and was it North Korea? On basically saying that Russia was not the aggressor in the Russia-Ukraine war, which is laughable.
This is
But
crazy.
so anyhow, so that's going on there. Um, and then on to El Salvador. This just irritates me. I don't know if you saw this, but the judge last week had I can't remember which judge it was, but there was a guy that lived in Maryland, a father. that they accused of being MS-13 and shipped him out of the country. Apparently, he was here legally and he was under some kind of a protected status because
Hmm.
if he gets sent back to his home country, he's going to get killed right away.
Yeah.
So he was here, he was on paper, he was here legally. They said he was MS-13 and without a trial sent him to El Salvador. The judge they've had a couple different hearings on this, and the judge said on Friday that nope, they need to get him and bring him back right now. Like, however they got to
Hmm.
do it, they got to bring him back. Did you see how the White House responded to that?
No, I haven't.
The White House put out an official statement that says we suggest the judge contact President Bukele, or whatever, the president of El Salvador. We suggest the judge contact President Bukele because we are unaware of the judge having any jurisdiction or authority over El Salvador. Basically
Oh,
saying, telling him to pound sand, like, hey, he's in El Salvador. If you want him back, I don't think you have the authority to get him back. What? Like they
this poor
wrongly
guy.
they
Like
wrongly
the guy's
deported a guy.
family. And it's not like they're sending him to like just any jail. They're sending him to like a torture camp.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's their response is like, oh well, the judge did say that, but I don't think he has any authority in El Salvador, which is where that guy is. So good luck. And they're
like
saying they basically came out afterward and said this has nothing to do with us. If the judge wants him back, he should contact them directly because we don't, he's not under our control. So
dude, that's
that
terrifying. Did you see that video of that girl who wrote the paper in her college or for her college newspaper?
That was the one from like Tufts University that she just walked out onto the street and people in plain clothes, hoodies, and masks. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Just
It's
snagged her up.
just just they're disappearing people off the
And
street.
they're
But
not sending them back to their own countries. They're sending them to a torture camp in
yeah,
El Salvador.
here's the thing.
This is crazy.
If here's the thing, there are some MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and some just bad immigrants in our country. If you catch one of them, I feel like it should be real easy to go in front of a judge and show all your evidence that this is a bad hombre and then take him to that El Salvador prison. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But when you're
Hmm.
not following the process and going in front of a judge, one out of every 100, I don't know, one out of every 1,000 is going to turn out to be a mistake. And like that shouldn't happen at all. And here we
No,
are. And maybe if it does happen, they should be quick to say, oops, our bad, and bring that guy back. They don't
it's
seem like they're
called
going to
due
do that at all.
process. It's
That
a
they don't believe due process. So here's the argument. Some people think that if you are in America, whether you're a tourist or a citizen or you're visiting from another, if you're on our soil, you are afforded all the rights under our Constitution.
hmm.
Now, there are other people that feel like, no, that only applies to legal residents and citizens, so green card holders and citizens. And then up just like a week or two ago, the one that started all this, the kid from Colombia, he is a green card holder. And they said, well, we revoked his green card. So, nope, now he doesn't get due process. So,
Yeah.
like, that's where
Well,
we're
there's
at.
like
So,
a half dozen or more people that are they've already shipped over to the torture camp without due process. So,
yep. So, and
oh
then
man.
the other part of El Salvador, there's one more video. This is from Fox. Watch this and tell me how bad it scares you.
El Salvador, the president there said he would be willing to take American citizens in the federal prison population. Is that one of the ideas you're going to be discussing?
Well, I love that. If we could take some of our 20-time wise guys that push people into subways and that hit people over the back of the head and that purposely run people over in cars, if he would take them, I'd be honored to give them. I don't know what the law says on that, but I can't imagine the law would say anything different. If they can house these horrible criminals for a lot less money than it costs us, I'm all for it. But I'd only do according to the law.
Huh?
So
Okay.
there he's saying that because I guess the president of El Salvador said, "Hey, you don't just have to send us your immigrants; if you just send us your citizens too. We'll house them all for you. We can do it for cheaper than you." And he's saying, like, yeah, first thing he said is, "I love that," and then he said, "I would be for it. I can't imagine the judges would have a problem with it. So yeah, like I'll do it as long as the law's cool with it." Now, what the law thinks seems to not bother him at all up until this point. But that's a whole new thing because the whole point of sending them to this prison in El Salvador is because in El Salvador they can run a torture camp. You can't do that here in America. We have rights, the Constitution. But now
Well,
he's
the
talking
whole
about
reason is they spent $6 million. They give El Salvador $6 million to house these guys, right?
yep.
To take in the people, and El Salvador just happens to have a torture camp that costs them almost nothing to run
Mhm.
because it's a torture camp, and they probably just get like bread and water every day. Um, And Trump's just like, yeah, $6 million. Because remember, they shipped a bunch of people to Guantanamo
And then they
and
brought him back.
they brought him back because it was too expensive.
Yep. So, but here we have now Trump is talking about not illegals, American citizens, people born in America, raised in America, sent to jail, and let's house them in El Salvador instead. That's the president just said he loves the idea of that. And now he did say he's only going to do it if the courts allow it. But that's where we're at is let's just start housing all of our criminals in third world countries. You know how much cheaper that would be?
Yeah, that's not good. I
I know.
mean,
That's where we're at though.
well, we already have a prison lobby. It's already a
The private
money-making
prison
scheme.
lobby. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Trump's going to outsource it. So
I'm, he's outsourcing to
he's,
another country.
he's outsourcing prison guard jobs. I want to hear the prison guard union throw a fit about this.
The
So
prison lobby, yeah, he
yeah.
would have a field day with that. They're
Yep.
gonna hate that. Okay.
Okay, so the only other thing, Marco Rubio met with the Danish Prime Minister on Friday while the stock market was collapsing. So this got very little coverage. But Greenland is protected by Denmark, so you know
Mhm.
we've been starting some crap over there. So he met with him, and I think this is just starting a pattern. But remember when Trump had a meeting a week or two ago, and then it was his call with Putin. And like the American readout and the Russian readout, like didn't really jive at all. Like it was like we left a lot out that Russia decided to include. And normally, when you have these diplomatic calls or meetings, like you give a readout afterward to show what each side talked about. And normally they kind of jive. And I've always suspected that each side like runs theirs by the other and they kind of make sure they match. I don't know why, I just assume that happens. Um, so Trump's and Putin's didn't line up at all. Rubio, the president, sorry, the statement by Rubio said he kind of made it sound like he really drove the point home that they stress the importance of burden sharing when it comes to like the cost of NATO and defense for Europe and all that. And that was his like I kind of laid it to him, let him know. The Danish foreign minister said that they had an honest and direct meeting, which made it crystal clear that the statements and actions about seizing Greenland were unacceptable and disrespectful, and kind of went on from there. And just like, so each side is claiming they laid into the other side regarding something. I really, out of all the people in Trump's cabinet, I get the feeling that Marco really doesn't believe in what he's doing right now. Like, I think he's doing it because he wants to stay in the good graces, but like some of them are really going out there and like fighting for what Trump is
Yeah.
saying. And Marco is always just kind of like, shit. Like,
Yeah,
what are
what
we
are
doing?
we doing? Are we really doing that?
Yeah. So, but he right now he's doing everything Trump wants. So that's where we're at there is that the Denmark Greenland situation has not gotten any closer to better. So
Hmm.
hip, hip, hooray. Um, The only other thing on Saturday, I got to go to an all-you-can-eat sushi lunch with two of my buddies.
Nice.
34.99, all-you-can-eat sushi. We all assumed we're all bigger dudes, so we all assumed we could really like get our money's worth, and boy, did we! But on the way there, we had to drive through like kind of the middle of town, and I didn't even know what was going on, but I ended up in the middle of one of the hands-off protests that I
Oh
guess were
yeah.
happening in every city across the nation. I feel like
Yeah.
these didn't get a lot of attention, or maybe it was because the market was crashing Thursday and Friday, so kind of
Well,
that
no,
dominated
it
the news.
happened yesterday.
Today's Sunday, yeah. So I'm saying the market was crashing, so nobody was talking about the fact that there was going to be massive protests this
Oh,
weekend. I
but
never,
they're massive across the world, bro.
dude. I saw just like New York, Washington, Philly, and then like Des Moines, Iowa, like Tulsa, Oklahoma. They had taken over like two intersections. Like it was pretty impressive. And when I first pulled up, I saw a bunch of people, and I was like, oh, like what are these morons doing? And then I saw a Palestinian flag, and I was like, oh shit, like a free Palestine rally in Tulsa. Like someone's gonna get shot. Like what's going on here? And then as I got closer, I realized it was much bigger than I thought. And there were American flags, there were posters galore, and it was the hands-off stuff. And what's weird is it was a lot of old people. I don't know if this is how everyone went, but it was a lot of old white people, like old white women. There's not a
Makes
big
sense.
Democrat presence in Oklahoma, but I was shocked. And like the dude that's riding with me, he will tell me all the time that he doesn't really pay attention to politics, but he likes Trump. He voted for Trump. And like when I realized, I was like, oh shit, I was like, it's the hands off protest. And he's like, what are they protesting? And I was like, like Doge, Elon, like people messing with their Social Security or Medicare. And like when I said that, he got like noticeably uncomfortable because like these are his enemies. Like, and
Oh yeah.
I started leaning
You should
forward to
have
give,
dropped him off. Let him
dude.
out of there. Don't get the fuck out.
I was giving thumbs up as we were driving by and people were waving and whatnot. And like he was not digging it at all. And I could tell that he wanted to give the finger. Like the whole time he was like, when like when we got through it all, he was like, man, he's like, I just don't understand how people could be upset about, finding all this fraud, waste, and abuse. And I was like, dude, like they haven't found any fraud for sure. Waste is a subjective term. Like it's
Yeah,
money that
sure.
the Congress voted to spend it on this, but now Trump has deemed that
Did
this
you
is
lay this
stupid and
out to him
wasteful.
like
I
in a
did. I
okay,
did.
good.
And at one point he even said he was like, "Well, but I thought they found like a bunch of fraud, right?" And I was like, "How many people have been like charged with fraud to this point?" And he was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Answer is zero. They are not laying out any case. They're saying fraud, but what they're finding is money being spent on stuff that they don't agree with. Like that's what's happening." And like it kind of clicked for him, but at the same time, like every time I'm talking to like somebody that's on the right, and in my head I'm like, I think I really got through to that person. It never is the case. Like that night, I go to sleep with a smile because I'm like, I made a difference today. The next time I talk to him, it's clear that I made no difference. So anyhow, but what was your experience like? Did you get to see any of the hands off? Did you go shooting pictures or anything?
So no, I didn't shoot pictures, but yeah, we did the up and over, which is like you start on one side of the continental divide and you skin up on your backcountry skis slash
Okay.
splitboard, and then you go back down the other side.
Hold on. So
Um,
you saw a protest on the Continental Divide?
so we went over, you know where Winter Park is?
Okay.
The little town is called
You're
Fraser, and we that's where we caught the train to go back to Denver,
okay.
and
Got it.
uh, and that's we saw the protest there. There was maybe like it was like 4:30, and there was probably 50 to 75 people in this little town.
Oh, okay. In a little, I thought you meant in Denver. So
In a little
did you
town.
see it? Did you see it in Denver at all?
I didn't, but apparently there was a lot of people in Denver.
Okay, I'm curious. I haven't heard the numbers. Some of the videos I saw about like on the East Coast, seemed like the streets were flooded. The one in Tulsa, I would say was like 3,000 people. I'm guesstimating, but
It's
for
big for
Tulsa,
Tulsa.
that's like I said, for Tulsa, that was kind of a big deal. So,
Yeah, and apparently it was like Germany, Switzerland, like
mhm.
every major city in every country had
Yeah.
the same protest. So that's pretty cool. Like we Trump is being protested across the world right now.
So that's the thing, though. As I was trying to explain it to my buddy, like, are they protesting Trump more or Elon slash Doge more? Because I feel like the
It,
hands off is more a retaliation to Elon and Doge.
no, it's hands off of everything.
Okay.
It's the Republicans in general. It's hands off our Medicare, it's hands off yeah, our jobs, it's hands off the
Okay.
economy, the tariffs, like it's all of the above, right? But Trump is he's the center focus. Like he hired Elon to do what he's doing, or
That's true. It
Elon
all
hired
ultimately,
himself.
that's the thing is
Yeah.
ultimately Trump's responsible for all of it. And people said that Elon, one of his like jobs was to be a heat shield for Trump, like to take all the anger and directed at him instead of Trump. And it's
You
kind of
didn't know that
worked.
though.
No, I'm saying though, it's kind of worked though that way. Where like I still say that right now, if this is if you work for Trump, it has to be so scary because I feel like right now, if the market crashes tomorrow, Trump could fire Elon and then two or three of his economic guys, Bissent and Howard Lutnick, and I'm sure there's a third one in there, but he could fire them and say, "Hey, I was getting terrible advice. I brought these people in. People said they knew what they were doing, but apparently they didn't. And I'm getting rid of all of them, and I'm going to change course right now." And like he could save the day for the economy, and all the Republicans would be like, "Brilliant! Like that's leadership right there." He knew that we needed to change the course, and he would get an yeah. It's the best thing he could do for his presidency. He's not going to do it, but at any moment, that's the thing with him is that at any moment he could throw you under the bus and say it's all your fault, and his people are going to be on his side on that. Even when it
Like
comes to,
Mark,
remember, we talked at one point months ago about who had more power between Elon or Trump. I think we're about to see that it's definitely Trump. Like when
yeah,
Elon leaves, like if there is any kind of a back
they're
and
forcing
forth.
Elon out. Like
Oh
everybody's
yeah,
sick of Elon. Yeah.
I'm just saying if there's
And
any kind of a public back and forth like online, Trump is going to win. Like I 100% believe it.
And seriously, everybody in Trump's administration is like a fall guy for him, right? Like you
Yes.
got RFK. Does he care about RFK? No. He's got JD Vance. Does he care about JD Vance?
Well,
No. Does he care about Marco Rubio? Fuck no. Does he who does he care about in his administration?
so
He doesn't have any friends. It's
real quick,
all pieces
you,
of
you
his
You said
This
RFK
just
a minute ago. I don't know if you've seen, and I don't have any notes on this, but RFK last week they had like severe cuts to HHS, and I can't remember all the different departments, but they cut them all. And then they asked him about it, and he said like, no, we're gonna be fine. Like these cuts were good, but and he really defended the cuts. And then the next day they announced they were hiring back several departments that they accidentally fired. They claimed they didn't mean to fire, so now they're trying to get all these people back. And then we had a second child die of measles in Texas. This is now two children and one adult, I believe, so far. And
well,
apparently, the child died like yesterday or the day before. And RFK flew to Texas today to console the family of the child. I'm waiting to see how this is going to play out because reports are, and this is not confirmed, but reports are it was an unvaccinated child. So odds are the parents like her. I'm just going to guess if you're anti-vax, you like RFK. That makes sense, right? So
hmm
like he showed up to console them. I'm curious if we're gonna see any like videos or pictures or just anything out of that. I want to say like why would he fly there to meet the parents after their kid died of me? But at the same time, like I think he might turn this into a positive. Like I'm kind of waiting to see what the
Hmm.
reaction to it is.
I wonder if he like what if the parents were against him now that this their child
That's
died?
like I want to see like are they basically like oh we if we could do it all over again we still wouldn't vaccinate them because we trust you, or are they like bitter about it? Like I want to see a camera in the
Guaranteed they're
room.
bitter. I guaranteed they're bitter, and that's why we're never going to see a video out of that because it's he either didn't get in or they yelled at him
So
or
the
he
the
had issues.
first child that died in Texas, they interviewed the parents afterward. The parents said if they had it all to do over again, they still wouldn't vaccinate him, and then they went on to like spew a bunch of vaccine misinformation
Oh my
after their kid
gosh.
died. So that's what I'm
Really?
saying. I kind of want to see how this one's going to play out. Yeah, that family went on CNN and sat there and did
Oh
all
my
kinds of
gosh.
anti-vax stuff. So
What is wrong with these people?
yeah,
Matt, wow. Wow.
yeah.
Amazing.
So anyhow, so final prediction. I think how many points did you say? I don't know the percentages. So let's say how many points dollar wise, like how much are we going to lose on Wall Street tomorrow? It was a total of what did we say? Like
What are the other markets at right now?
it was 3,900 over 2 days is what we lost. Hold on a second, I can pull this up.
You see Trump did not make it to the fallen soldier.
Yeah, that I'd love it if we could make that into a big deal, but that one won't catch any traction. Therefore,
There's too much going on.
there
Nobody cares
it's
about the
called the
soldiers anymore.
it's called the dignified transfer of remains or something like that. And generally, the president meets them at like Dover Air Force Base or something like that, and is there to salute as the caskets go by. And like, yeah, Trump had a golf date this weekend in Florida, so he couldn't make it to that. And that would be like if Obama didn't do that because he was golfing, that would have been a huge deal. But like with
Oh
Trump,
my gosh.
with Trump, most of his supporters are like, "What, dude? He had prior golf engagements, like he had to be there. Like they wouldn't be upset about it at all." Right now, the futures for tomorrow. Let's see what we got here. So right now the futures only have it at down 3%, which that would be a miracle if it stays right there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that if it stays at 3, we're good. I've seen a lot higher estimations, but so it dropped about 3,900 points in 2 days, 3,900. How far do you think it'll drop tomorrow before the circuit breakers kick in?
Hmm. So we had 5 and 6% ish on Thursday and Friday,
I think like
and
5 and 7.
5 and 7. Okay. And they're predicting 3 tomorrow. I'm gonna go 4.5.
4.5. Let's see here. The U.S. stock market circuit breakers designed to halt trading during periods of extreme volatility are triggered when the S&P 500 drops by 7%, 13%, or 20% from the previous day's closing price. So that's
Oh,
the S&P.
so
Let me
that's
see.
drop another 7.
Well, so the S&P is a lot smaller. So 7% on the S&P is let's see here. Everything's just giving me S&P.
Hmm.
It would it would need to fall 7% to trigger the first market-wide New York Stock Exchange circuit breaker. The second circuit breaks in at 13% decline in the S&P 500. I wonder if it's 7% in the Dow. That might be what it is.
Hmm. Yeah. That would
It can,
make sense.
yeah. So how far does the market have to fall? Trading would so apparently if it gets stopped the first time, it only halts for 15 minutes and then it starts again. But then if it gets tripped a second time, they can just call it for the day.
Okay. Oh, interesting. It's gonna be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
if they're only saying 3%, then it may not trip. But yeah, I feel like we probably already got through the worst of it until the tariffs actually go into effect, or he changes his mind.
Yeah. Again,
So Trump really has like he's got all the suspense in the palm of his hands. Like he can just at any moment make a statement, and the stock market's either going to go up or it's going to crash completely.
and that's what bothers me about this is it's like what he's doing is so stupid, but at any moment he has like four different ways to escape this and still maintain all credibility with his voters. Like he really does. Like
Yeah.
he could take so many exit doors, and all he's got to do is pick an exit door and take it, and like things will get better. And he's not going to do it for a while. He's going to make us all sweat, and he's loving it. That's what scares me.
Well, right now he's going to crash the stock market so much so that all these other companies can start picking it
Yeah,
up, right?
the
And they can
billionaires
make
are
more
definitely
money because
waiting.
it's a billionaire puff off. Maybe this is his concession. Maybe he promised these tax cuts for the rich, and he's like, okay, guys, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get you guys these tax cuts, but what I can do is I can crash the stock market so you guys can get rich again.
I'd like to think that that's a possibility, but I don't think there's any way that he's given up on the tax breaks yet. I think that
But they don't. The thing is, they don't need the tax breaks because they get so there's so many. They get
yeah,
like how much does Elon pay in taxes every year?
a lot less than he should. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like zero. Bezos,
Well, and when you
they
take in
don't pay taxes.
when you take in the money that like Musk, for example, gets in government subsidies, it's actually like a negative amount. Like he gets more from the federal government than he pays into it every year. So
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think that's what he's doing is he's like, yeah, tax cuts really aren't how they do it. But when I crashed the stock market in 2020 or when the pandemic crashed it, that's what made all these people super rich. And that's what made him rich too, I guess.
Hey, there's a video going around of him saying that he does much better when the market is down than when the market is good. And I think that's how it is if you're a billionaire. Like you
Yeah.
can prey on all these companies that are going under, get good deals on real
Warren
estate.
Buffett's been speaking out and he's been talking about like this is great for the rich. This is great for me.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it's a shame. I wish we
it's
were rich, man, so we could prey on all these poor suckers and losers.
dude,
So,
save your cash. Wait for
yep.
the bottom.
We'll see. So yeah, I think that we're definitely going to get a circuit breaker trip in tomorrow, and then I think that it all comes down to tomorrow night. How does Trump play it? Does he come out and make it seem like we're very close? Does he delay tariffs a month, or does he just double down and say no, no, we're doing the tariffs? Because if so, I think it's just going to keep falling for a couple days. But maybe
Yeah.
I'm wrong. We'll see. So
Well, when is the deadline's on the 9th or the 7th
the
or
ninth
the
is when
ninth?
they kick in. So what is that?
Okay.
Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday. Okay. Did he
Yeah.
he let them go into effect last time for a short period of time and then
That was
paused them?
just with Mexico and Canada, and he put them into effect, and they were in effect for like 36 hours before he pulled them down.
Okay. He'll
So,
probably do that because it'll tank the stock market. And then I bet you it's Friday around noon.
so you think that they will go into effect, but they'll be out before the weekend?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my guess.
I truly think for some reason he wants to prove that he has the balls to do it, and that he's going to leave them in place for like a month.
Oh, a
I
whole
could be
month.
wrong. I could be wrong, but I think that I every time he's about to do something terrible and then he decides not to, all the left needs to shut the hell up because then they start making fun of him. They're like, "Oh wait, he didn't have the guts to do it." They start giving him shit for not doing it, and it's like, no, he stopped and he didn't do the terrible thing. Take the win, like
Take the
just take
win.
the win, and
Yes.
like if he let's say that this month on like Tuesday, he says, you know what? I've decided I'm going to push the tariffs 1 month. Like the left is going to start making fun of him and saying that he's a pussy. And like that only is going to make him want to do the tariffs more. Like that's where, like, when he did the whole 36 hours with Canada and then undid them, he took shit for that from the left. The
Yeah.
left is like, it's not helping their cause. I know it's fun. When he does something like that, it's fun to pile on, but stop it. You're just making him want to prove you wrong. Like that's where we're at.
He's so stupid. He's a 4-year-old. You have to treat him like a 4-year-old.
You have to understand that he has that
Yay,
mentality.
Donald! Yay!
Yep.
The way to go. Good
Give him
job.
say thank you, as JD would say. Just say thank you.
Yeah. If you yell at him, say no, 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 he just cries more.
Bad Donald. They need a squirt bottle so they can say bad Donald and squirt him in the face. Imagine the orange would start just running down his face at
Oh,
that
that'd be
point. Yeah,
great.
the bronzer or whatever. I don't know what kind of makeup he's got on,
Man,
but yeah,
I wish I was an artist. If we've got an artist in the audience, please
yeah.
share that image with us.
That's what I was watching the other day, and he was much more orange than normal. And I even asked my wife, I was like, "Does he look more orange to you than normal?" And she was like, "Well, I think it's the lighting." And we were trying to figure it out, but like it almost looked Oompa Loompa-ish, where I was like, he didn't mean to be that orange, but that's where we're at.
Oh,
Yeah.
and more people are doing the same thing.
Are people going orange?
Not necessarily orange,
Confused.
but just tanner.
Dude, so I was talking to somebody the other day, and I brought up. Sorry, this is not gonna be interesting for anybody else. But me and you both used to work at tanning bed places at the same
Yeah.
time, like very near each other. And it was funny because I started thinking about it. It's like there was a period of time where like every girl was fake baking, and they all had the little Playboy bunny little sticker mark to show
Hmm.
how tan they were.
Yep.
Like, is tanning like fake baking? Is that kind of gone away? Because I feel like I don't see that when I'm walking around now. Like that was a fad for a couple of years where like everybody was dark, like fake baked tan.
There's still Palm Beach tans around. I've seen them
I don't think they're as
around.
popular.
I don't think it's as popular. Yeah, you're probably right. Um, it could just be a Texas thing too.
Maybe. But even when I go back to Texas, I don't see it. I think it was a fad that ran its course, but at the same time, like I was talking to a buddy about just how like every girl had the little Playboy bunny on her on her belly
Yep.
and how hot that was. And like,
Oh
when
yeah.
was the last time you saw that?
When I worked at tanning salon.
Forever ago. Like I said, I think it's a gone thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Could
don't
be
know
high
why it went
school
there, but
girls in Texas or something. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
How'd your tan go? Did you get darker? And they pull off their little bunny sticker.
yeah.
You're like, oh,
I think the best part was being the guy at the front desk, like me and you were when they came in. We got to be like, "Oh, what
perfect.
sticker do you want? Okay, it looks like Playboy Bunny. I got you right here, and hand out
Yeah.
a sticker. It's so
The
great.
best job for a 17-year-old boy.
Yes, it was fantastic. But way better than being a busboy, which I was before that. So anyhow, all right, that's all I got. Well, if the market crashes tomorrow morning, we'll probably hop on around lunchtime. So I'll be talking to you then, buddy.
All right, bro. Later.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.